What up, what up, what up, ladies and gents, wrestling fans, and sports entertainment enthusiasts? It's the Sideline Junkies Saturday Night Wrestlemaniacs coming back to you. Live and in charge, it's myself, the People's Choice, along with the big guy, KG.
Hold on, I think I should be announced by my proper title.
Okay.
Announced as the reigning, defending world champion, the big guy KG. Thank you very much.
I thought we was tied.
If it's tied, I don't have to give up my belt, so I get to fight another day.
Oh yeah, I guess true.
So
Well, you're not harboring the belt right now. I don't see it on display. Nothing.
Oh, I you know what? I said I was gonna break it out. Hold on.
You sent it to the cleaners? You got Jeeves over there polishing it up?
See, I didn't want to stunt, but I mean, since
Only champion I know that don't want to advertise a championship.
Because I'm a fighting champion, but I'm the people's champ. I don't think that I'm better than anybody else. I'm just better than you.
You might as well finish the quote now.
Ooh, I'm the best there is, the best there ever was, and the best there ever will be. I'm the excellence of execution.
Oh, Lord. You only won one time. But
well, I mean, I had a streak where I was Picks champion for 7 months. But anyway.
We call it one in a possible.
Anyway.
One in a possible.
I think I had the longest reign, so.
No, that was me.
Okay. Well, I'm reigning right now. Hey Dario, come shine my belt.
I'm the longest reigning Picks champion of the COVID era.
That's the only reason why you champion, because it was COVID.
You trying to say? I infected everybody so that way I could win.
well, here's the thing. I will give you credit for this. The Thunderdome was your idea. We still have yet to be paid for that. So, right. Yeah, 24/7 championship was your idea. Still have yet to be paid for that. They didn't even use that, right? But anyway, let's get into the topic of the night.
Yep. Tonight is all dedicated to the most important conversation and timeline in all of wrestling history and sports entertainment. It is the Endeavor, now TKO, takeover. Never thought I'd see it, but we are officially in a McMahon-less dominated sports entertainment, wrestling environment. It's still weird. It doesn't sound right. Like in the back of my head, I'm just expecting Shane to become the heir of the WWE, and that's what it is. But that is not the case by any means this week. So what we're going to do is pretty much just take this thing by the numbers. So for the benefit of those without flash photography or spending a lot of time on social media and you somehow missed it, this is how it all happened this week. And a couple other things that sprinkled in between. So while we're remembering arguably one of the most devastating times in U.S. history, September 11th, something else happened. September 11th marked not only a stain in our history, but also the last McMahon-dominated, run, fingerprinted wrestling broadcast ever. So Monday Night Raw was the last one. And now officially it is under the guise of the Endeavor Group and labeled as TKO. And in the midst of that, we get Nia Jax back. What's your thoughts on that? Just starting there.
Well, you already know. I know that Nia Jax is coming back. I knew that she was going to make a run. I didn't know it was going to be in WWE. Let's be honest. Didn't know it was going to be in WWE. But her coming back, it made me feel brand new.
Mm-hmm.
So God bless you, Nia Jax. You make me feel brand new. But they say she had been signed for a month.
Mm-hmm.
So all those workouts that we were seeing, that she was, of course, doing her TikToks and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, so, she's getting paid. She was getting paid to get ready.
Yeah. But here's what I didn't like. And I can't control it. The internet trolls that decided to go at her about, oh, if she hurt 12 people, this is number 13 and things like that. And I'm like, who did she hurt? Did she hurt somebody on Monday night? And of course, Xavier loves that she's back. Of course, you stay away from my woman, boy.
Here's what I want to get. They focusing all the energy on Nia Jax. Why the heck is that fool that possibly could have ended Big E's career? Anybody going after him? He's still hanging out with Butch and Sheamus, brawling, bruting it up.
Exactly.
And he didn't come close a couple times to hurting somebody with some of the moves he's been doing. So they coming for Nia.
Let's not talk about
everybody coming for him.
But of course, a double standard. It's like they always come after her for whatever reason. But it's always you come after her and she's unsafe. But think about this. If she was so safe, would Becky Lynch have had the run that she had? If she never broke Becky Lynch's nose, would Becky have the man persona? Would she have the whole run that came out?
The answer is no. Couldn't have happened. Couldn't have happened. That was, she got her Stone Cold moment. Harking back to Bret Hart versus Stone Cold in the Bloody Mask. That was her moment, and that was only, in a roundabout way because of Nia Jax. No way to get around it. If Nia would have, come with that extra force, because it wasn't intentional, but just a little bit extra force, wouldn't have the man.
True. But
and then, there's been plenty of issues. Now, if they want to put their focus on something, let's talk. You can talk all day about some of that stuff that's happening in AEW. Because Lord knows, they have been averaging more by far the injury reserve list grouping than the WWE has in quite some time. Once the WWE officially acknowledged CTE, their issues have really dropped. It started with Kurt Angle, then went to Daniel Bryan, and then they've been paying attention to it, staying on top of it, pulling people off the road, doing what they need to do to make sure they're good. Very rarely do you see an issue now on the road or on television where somebody is injured at WWE. But on the AEW side, it's like, well, just pick a match. At some point, and I know it sounds crazy, I think they're going to run out of blood over with Tony Khan's crew. Because people need to bleed every single time. Honestly, let me just go ahead and call a spade before we go on to continue on the timeline. Does Mox need to bleed in every match?
Apparently, they want a hardcore division. So in order to have a true hardcore division, you got to go Crimson.
Now, I know there's some people that's thinking, how the heck are you going to say that? But we all know you're a Ric Flair fan, and we all know that if Flair wasn't bleeding, it wasn't a good match. I get that. But Nate was getting color in situations that kind of made sense. He goes over the top a little bit too high on the top turnbuckle and then, hits the post. All right, he's going to have some color. He's fighting people like Nikita Koloff, Barry Windham, the list goes on and on. Heavy hitters. Yeah, he could get color, some color. Mox, let me just go ahead and bring out some skewers. Let me bring out a fork. Let me get some knives. Let me get some broken glass. Let's have a death match just because. It's like we're just hunting for reasons for you to bleed at this point. Even matches, a trios match, how are you going to get, really? There's 3 people wrestling. Do you need to bleed in a trios match?
Yes. if
the
you
Lucha
notice,
Bros don't do it. House of Black ain't bleeding. Why you gotta bleed?
Nick Gage, ever since he had that match with Nick Gage, he's been hardcore.
I don't know. We could go on a whole tangent about that, but we'll save that for when we got the sumo here. So Monday was D-Day, the end of an era with an S. Might as well throw the S on it. Eras. Now we're going into uncharted territory, but that's Monday. Here's how crazy uncharted territory can be. Tuesday, September 12th. Endeavor's $21 billion deal is live. $21 billion. McMahon with a mustache came back for $21 billion. The global sports entertainment company TKO is officially born, which I will say that belt looks nice. If they put that up, and they probably will, it'd be a toss-up between the Ravens belt on WWE.com or the TKO belt. Nick Khan gets a $15 million bonus. Good old Kevin Dunn gets a $7 million bonus. Triple H only gets $5 million, and Frank Riddick gets $5 million. People getting paid. In addition to $21 billion that went to Vince. Rumors then begin to surface heavily that TKO is looking to shop around the WWE to different distributors because their deal with Fox is almost done. Their deal with USA is almost done for rights to the WWE's Raw and SmackDown. So top bidders in that right now is Amazon. So if you're a Prime member, you could be watching WWE programming or Disney Plus. And Peacock is on the ticker as well because I believe it's 2026 is when the Peacock deal is done. So Peacock ends, Disney Plus can run it all, or Amazon can run it all. And those are the top two right now. I'll tell you why in a little bit why you're like, well, what about HBO and Cinemax, HBO Max, or Max as it's called now? That's a whole different thing. We're still on Tuesday, by the way. TKO as a company is looking to hold super weekends. Friday night SmackDown, Saturday UFC, Sunday WWE. According to senior UFC executive Lawrence Epstein and Nick Khan, that is their ultimate goal, is to do super weekends. In order to have that super weekend, the city has to bid, kind of like what happens with WrestleMania. They just don't pick a city to have WrestleMania. They are actively bidding, just like the Super Bowl, to have WrestleMania and soon to be these super weekends there. So just think about that. Baltimore is not. What's up, Midnight Rider? May not be getting anything anytime soon of major like it used to.
Well, they got to finish the Baltimore arena. I don't think they're finished yet.
No, they'll be finished that. Baltimore now should be doing things in Raven Stadium. That's just off the clout of where they are and the lineage of that town. It should be in Raven Stadium. It's not happening because they're not. It's not happening. So Philadelphia may be the last, and I know it's going to sound crazy, no disrespect, but that may be the last small city that's going to host something major under Endeavor and TKO. And then the last thing that happened on Tuesday to round it all up in a nice, crazy ball is that Becky beats Tiffany Stratton to become the women's NXT champion. So that's a lot for a Tuesday. $21 billion over $32 billion in bonuses. We're finding out about super weekends and the fact that now they're shopping it around or looking to shop around heavy bidding wars to host the normal pay-per-views. We're not even talking about the major four. They're going to start with the major four, but every pay-per-view is going to be a bidding war by major cities. So quite a few is going to be in California. Quite a few is going to be, well, maybe Atlanta can bid one finally and get something down south. It's been a long time, but a lot of these smaller areas not going to get it. So we'll tackle that first. Tell me what you guys think, and Midnight Riders is just jumping in. Tell me what you think about the fact that the WWE is shopping around these super weekends and they have to be bid on just to be able to get SmackDown, UFC, and whatever WWE pay-per-view that's happening in tandem.
I truly think they're just optimizing what's going on right now in sports. Period. Like we're losing the local cable markets, the local stations like your Baysides, your Comcast, Washington D.C. Those stations are going away, so you don't have that local vibe. So they have to find a way to create currency. And I thought it was kind of ironic. I don't want to get too in front of what you're talking about.
Yeah, don't go there yet. Don't bring it. Nope, don't say it yet.
Okay.
Don't say it yet. Just say that.
But I feel like they're on the cusp. I feel like they're on the cusp of doing something TV wise because I think Fox wants more. So you have, I'll just say it this way: there's been an influx of stars on both shows lately.
Yep, KG, what's your thoughts on the new bidding war that doesn't involve MJF?
Here's the thing: you talk about shopping around for TV. WWE had it on lock when they had their own network. Everything, the whole library from AWA to NWA, old WWF, the Golden Era, even the new generation, everything in one place. No censorship. Exactly as how it was aired is what you get. You messed up when you went over to Peacock. You lost a lot of people because a lot of people's like, I'm not paying for Peacock. When I like the WWE network. Not only could I pay for my subscription and get the whole library, but all my pay-per-views I could watch, and I could watch them over and over if I didn't want to buy them on the TV. You going to these streaming services, you're going to lose a lot of people. You're going to lose a lot. They're not going to make as much money as they think they're going to make. Because a lot of people are like, yeah, I really don't want to mess with that. But then you have other people who own Fire Sticks, and they don't have to pay for none of that. They have different websites they can go to watch this stuff for free. You're going to lose more money than you gain. This is a dumb move. You just paid all this money. You just took over, and you about to fuck up the church's money already. If it ain't broke, don't break it.
So what's your guys' thoughts on sub-development? Is that Nick Khan is also heavily considering, and notice we're not saying Vince McMahon yet. Nothing I've said has said Vince McMahon yet. So that should tell you where we are in the state of things. So Nick Khan is also looking at the idea of going back to traditional pay-per-views instead of things airing on Peacocks and stuff like that. Would you pay for, what are we, at this point, and I'm not going to call it, as James likes to say, premium live events. I think that's just his favorite thing to say, but what is it, maybe 16 to 17 if I had to factor in NXT pay-per-views a year?
How much are we talking? We still talking a $59.99 price or $59.95?
We'll call it old school, $60 for the normal. WrestleMania used to be what, $90? Royal Rumble was $90 for the 4-hour deal. So would you pay that every month?
I'm out. I mean, once they gave me the WWE network, paying $50, $60 for a pay-per-view pretty much made it non-existent for me because I'm not getting anything. I'm not gaining anything. And with the internet and YouTube, by the time the show is over, I can probably wait a half hour to 45 minutes and get everything I want to see on YouTube.
What I was waiting for. They tweeting it.
Yeah, not to mention
they tweeting it too, but I was trying to be considerate of the market and not say anything that could get any of us in any kind of troubles because we're, maybe pushing something that's an illegal service.
Friday, you know what show you on. So we push the envelope rather heavily.
Y'all throw the envelope. Y'all don't push it.
Yeah, so if we're gonna get in trouble, we might as well go all the way. But that was the first thing I wanted to ask you guys about, because that's rather crazy to me. I get having a super weekends. I think that's cool, but taking it out of markets that really could benefit from that revenue versus still opening it up to medium parameters, not just the majors that are always going to get the pay-per-views. Sub areas that could still do it, like a Charlotte, could do it. And I know people are like, Charlotte's big. No, not compared to California. Not compared to Texas. We talking stadiums and stuff like that, where they're, renting the stadium for 2 days. So UFC would be in the stadium, probably WWE would be in the stadium, because it's easy to just transition, take out the octagon, put back in the 12 by 12. There you go. Add some seats. And then you have a close by venue for SmackDown. And maybe if they want to negotiate it, Monday Night Raw could be in the same venue as SmackDown. Just cover the whole thing. But also, why Triple H got to get the short end of the stick every single time? 21 billion went to Vince, but 15 mil went to Nick Khan. Kevin Dunn got 7 mil. Trips only get 5? Really?
Wouldn't that be based on their percentage of ownership in the company?
But still, come on now.
I mean, I'm just saying, if he owns,
if we look at percentage of ownership, then Triple H technically should outpace Nick Khan, because he's double dipping, pun intended. He's got his hands on what he's doing, and then he's got his hands, with Stephanie. So
true that, but I mean, again, that could be a thing where Stephanie might have her own. But I thought Stephanie gave up shares when she left.
They gave up some shares, but they got. I know we're talking about Endeavor and all that stuff, but TKO has and Endeavor have majority shares, but Vince and the crew has the other majority. So there will always be, just for clarity, McMahon's in the WWE.
So are you saying that Vince and crew have 49% and Endeavor has 51%? Is that what we're looking at?
Of the bulk of the top tier shares, in essence, yes.
So
Endeavor owns the direction and all that stuff, but the McMahons as a whole still have a strong footing, just because there's that many shares that they have and that they own, between Linda, Vince, Triple H.
Wait,
Stephanie,
I thought Linda gave up hers when she started running for political office.
Come on,
I thought she gave up everything.
Come on now, we talking about long money. Come on now. It's just repurposed in another way. And then, just knowing how smart they are, all 3 of Shane's boys I know have a bunch of stock, and all 3 of Stephanie and Triple H's girls have a bunch of stock, just for longevity's sake. So they will still be in it, period. But it's just, who's got the controlling interest right now. It used to be Vincent Kennedy, but now it's Endeavor, TKO. But I still just think it's, a big, 5 million is 5 million. I'll take that message. I just dropped $20 to try to win a little something, a piece of Powerball. But still, it's just weird that Kevin Dunn got more than Triple H.
But what's weird to me is, even though this deal, you got to go with the money, granted, but tell me 5 years ago you weren't thinking that if Shane doesn't want to take over WWE, we're talking Stephanie and Trips taking over WWE and them running for the long term, especially, with Triple H. He took Dusty's dream and he turned it into NXT, what we know now, well, what we did know before the pandemic. And that was like one of the highest rated shows. People were getting built up and everything. And of course, during the pandemic, Vince had to put his fingertips in it and put his fingerprint on it. Kind of messed it up, but
kinda.
Yeah, well, he really messed it up.
Okay, thank you.
But
just for accuracy.
Still, if you'd have told me 5 years ago that we'd be talking about another company running WWE and not Stephanie, not Triple H, I would have told you you're a goddamn lie.
Yep. It's hard to fathom. Hard to fathom. The only thing that is got me in more disbelief is your boy's pirate mustache. Like,
nah, that's not even pirate. That's porn mustache. That's a porn stash.
That is. Like, Vince, if you're gonna go ham, you know, that is not the way to go. Now he could have got a goatee or something.
Nah,
he could have got a little flavor saver or something like that.
Nah, you know what he did.
He got a Just for Men special too, because that ain't.
You know what he do though.
And then you see him with the do-rag on now and stuff. I'm like, man, we see him at a Jay-Z concert or something, you know, or hanging out with Kanye. We just might as well throw our hands up in the air. Well, this boy's off the chain.
Well,
but anything is possible in the WWE, allegedly. That's what they say. Just like the last point and the ending point of Tuesday, Becky winning the NXT championship. Now, as soon as they said and made the match, like, well, sorry, Tiffany, you know you're dropping this belt, right? Because, you know, I don't watch that much NXT, but I watched that promo on Monday between the two of them. I'm like, yeah, I'm not feeling Tiffany Stratton and her promo skills to be able to beat Becky. So now that Becky is a champion, what the heck are they going to do from there, Ryder? Because to your point, you're starting to see an influx of a lot more stars. So they're spreading the wealth through NXT as well. But what's the purpose of this? Where are we going with it? Just to give Becky something to do?
Yeah, I mean, didn't they do this? What was it? Last year, 2 years ago, somebody else went down and carried the NXT strap for the women's side. And then you also have your boy from the Judgment Day, Little Dominic, carrying the All-American title. So there's
I'm with that. That made sense to me. Give him a belt that he can carry just to have something.
Right. And it also helps him because of how over the top his character is as a heel. It gives him something to work with. And then gives him ability to build more of a heel character because with the belt, he can get disqualified, take count outs, do the whole old school thing. I'm with that. But I feel like every now and then they feel like they have to throw somebody down at NXT to just give it a name, give it a brand name, because I think they've realized that they screwed the pooch. The way it was set up, it was so dynamic, it was so different. I remember when I first started watching NXT, I felt like, oh, I'm watching old NWA wrestling. You know, the pay-per-views were always better than some of the nights of the main show. So that's why I was just. And then when they made the color, the second they did that color scheme change, I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done.
I was out. I gave it a couple moment chance. I'm like, this goddamn cartoons. I'm out.
It's crazy you said that, Midnight Rider, about the pay-per-views, because if you remember, at one point in time, NXT pay-per-views and the NXT takeovers was doing better numbers than everything else.
Yep.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, we hit the women's evolution. And then NXT was up here, and the women's evolution had every other show and pay-per-view up here. The women were main event and everything. They were carrying the flag on every single show, even in NXT. You went away from that. And I'm like, you had everybody so geeked up. That's when you introduced the women's tag team title, which was first introduced here on this show. We brung that up first. We also introduced, we've been trying to get a women's secondary title.
You went on mute.
Hit myself.
Gotta be careful when you get excited. Start touching things on the board. Don't get too excited.
Yeah. See, I got excited. But, you know, we had all these things, and then it's like you went away from it, and now here we are. Here we are again. And I just...
They still have the same problem. To your credit, you're absolutely right. You know, women's revolution and evolution was great, but the issue then was they did not have enough talent to sustain it. It's easy with the main roster because it's, you know, we're talking 80, 90% men. So you have a bunch of different options. But, between the main roster and NXT, you can only do the tag titles, but so many times because you only got a couple tag teams.
Yeah.
And then,
and then everything else was thrown together.
Right. So, how much more can you do?
I think they can
still
do
in the same boat.
But with WWE, you can always do more because they don't believe in the real tag teams. Like, think about, outside the Usos, think about the tag teams that win the titles. It's always two guys they threw together in the back of the room. They was like, all right, you and you, we ain't got nothing for you. You're a tag team. You run for 7 months, 8 months, you lose the titles to some other group that was put together. The Viking Raiders haven't done anything. Alpha Academy hasn't done anything. Imperium hasn't done anything.
Alpha Academy has been pretty entertaining.
I'm talking about from a tag team standpoint.
But from a tag team standpoint, yeah, I get it.
Right, exactly. It's amazing how they have these tag teams set, but they're so quick to veer off to this random two people they put together and establish them. And it's just, that's their MO. It's always been their MO. And even now it gets worse because you have these champions that are champions for 495 days, but then they only have 8 title defenses.
That sounds familiar. I remember somebody from the Golden Era used to do that, but I was told I was a hater.
Oh, you was a hater.
Now every
that
champion
was smart business. This is just, hey, let's just go ahead and make a decision because of COVID. And, we can only do but so much, with the people that tested positive. So just keep the strap on them because it's going to work at this moment. And then you do kind of like the Undertaker thing with WrestleMania. You're like, oh, we kind of got a situation here. We can keep this streak going or we can end it. But this will make good TV if we could play it up right. And then now, that's where we are with Gunther, surpassing and becoming the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion, which, I'm not really mad at that. Because he's out there performing and he's wrestling.
Here's the question.
Great character. And he's post-COVID. So it's not like, he had it during COVID. It's post-COVID. So it's a little bit more legitimate. Go ahead, KG.
Here's the question. Him passing the honky tonk man, who was considered by many probably one of the greatest Intercontinental champions of all time. It's a shame that, he can't sue Elvis for stealing his gimmick, but that's neither here nor there. But what does that leave for the honky tonk man to hold on to as his legacy? I think that I think they should at least let him go into tie or finish a day short. I don't see much that holds on to the legacy of the honky tonk man because you just took one of the biggest things from him. That's just my opinion.
We know because you guys cover sports all the time. Records are broken, and it'll happen. But the issue is that separates, and this is what I don't like, in mainstream sports, if, LeBron sets a record and then somebody comes up and beats it, or Steph Curry breaks it, or, whatever, somebody finally beats 2-1, 3-1 for Cal Ripken, they'll still be talking about it. It'll still be referenced. This younger generation, because they did not work it properly with the WWE network, even definitely not with Peacock, they don't know who the honky tonk man is. So holding a record for the honky tonk man, or Luthez, or others, depending on the championship, Pedro Morales and others, they don't know who they are. So their reference point is Gunther.
Here it comes.
So they screwed it up because if not telling a history, then we see what happens, and I'll give it to you, Rod, in a second. We see what happens with AEW, where they're introducing these mega stars in Japan and stuff, but the crowd is not popping for them because they have no clue as to who these people are. But you put them over on the broadcast. But it doesn't come across on TV that way because nobody knows. Like, as much as I like Zack Sabre Jr., when he wrestles Daniel Bryan, it's not going to be a huge pop for Zack Sabre Jr. because a lot of people don't know who he is. Roll back to Kenny Omega at day one. Not too many people knew who Kenny Omega was. Like, why does this guy got a broom? Why is he sweeping the floor? They don't get it. So it's hard to transition. Go ahead, Roddy.
I was just going to ask, don't they at some point have to give Gunther an actual opponent that is a risk? because I've watched everybody's fought lately, and nobody's been a risk. Nobody's been a threat. Like, I mean, it's cool that you want him to get to his number of days, but god damn, at least entertain me. Like, at least give me something. Like, don't have me watching Gunther and Captain Shoosh for weeks at a time, or watch Gunther against what's his name, the dude that doesn't have a role and he jumps around from between the two with the slick back hair, small guy. Though whatever, it don't matter.
About Ali.
Yeah, Ali. Like, and then they'll throw Ricochet in there. We know they're not putting the belt on Ricochet. Stop lying to me. You've had 5 years to put belts on Ricochet, and you can't, and you give him opportunities, and of course he can't talk, so that's his biggest problem. But I think Gunther's problem is he got the personality of a poster stamp. So I don't know where we got issues at.
Well, I like the Gunther character. I like the Walter character because he's safe from the, we're not going to offend too many people based off of the German gimmick. Not that it's a gimmick, but I mean, but putting that from the character perspective, he's got his heaters right there. They do their job well, and he's believable. He's kind of the Brock, but not Brock. He's not super built like Brock, but he's believable. You hear those chops and stuff like that. Like, I believe he is hitting the hell out of that dude, and then he could come through with the victory, and it's not always outside interference causing a victory. He's getting some legit wins. But I do agree with you. They're running out of people, but also they need to start, mixing things up. Why the heck do we not have The Miz going against Gunther? Just throwing it out there. Not saying I
can answer that.
But from a promo perspective, go ahead, Ryder.
Well, first, Miz will kill him in the promo perspective. But second, there's a ruler backstage, and if you're too tall, you can't fight for the Intercontinental title. That's what the rule is.
Yeah, true. But I mean, at least it becomes interesting because now you're mixing things up, and it's not always the norm. Because again, Drew McIntyre's issue is, yeah, we've seen you fight everybody, we've seen you lose to everybody, you return. Who really cares? It's like, oh, there's Drew. Now, you're no longer the golden guy. You had your moment and you're whatever. So they've got to mix some things up. I guess that's why we've got the Alpha Academy thing, but at least he can wrestle. So from the Matt perspective, it makes sense. A lot of the other shenanigans I don't get, but could he beat Gunther? He could probably get a move out there somewhere. I would like to see Pete Dunne come back and not be Butch, have a shot. They've got to do something to shake it up to make it entertaining. Hopefully we get that because on the UFC side, you got, the puncher's chance. So it doesn't matter about height, weight, in essence, reach. If you can get in there and knock somebody out and get in there and knock somebody out, it's just wins and losses. So if that influence can go over and say, hey, shake this up a little bit, maybe we get something positive out of it. KG, look like you chomping at the bit to say something.
Nah, it's funny because you named 2 wrestlers that should be in this conversation for Intercontinental Championship. And Midnight Rider said you had 5 years to put the belt on Ricochet. You haven't done it. You had something going with Mustafa Ali, Ricochet, Cedric Alexander, and Aleister Black. You had something going there, you wouldn't cultivate it. And it's just certain names that come up, and I always laugh because those would be your guys that would be in line to take on Gunther. These would be great matches. But
maybe Gunther needs to be moved up and get him out of that picture. Now that you've established 2 champions again, Gunther needs to start going after Seth and leave that, the workings man behind and let it be the new Cruiserweight Championship in essence. Let the guys of that stature, go out there and wrestle because Nakamura's not over. So, yeah, it's great that he's having some matches, but he was better as an IC champion. That's his lane. Let him vie for that belt. Let's have, more competitive matches from those superstars that are, in that lane because we'll get to a little bit later, but we're stretching things again for possibilities that could happen at WrestleMania that coming out of this weekend, and we'll talk about that in a second. So things can go in a couple different directions. But going back to the timeline, that was all Tuesday. So Super Tuesday happens, and then we jump into Wednesday. And Wednesday, actually, I would say is probably the most entertaining day out of everything that's happened post TKO going live. So the first major thing on Wednesday that just kind of took everybody by storm, even though it happened at the end of the day, was MJF, really likes to, keep that satire going and call back to stuff that happened back in the day and bring it forward. So we know for everybody that enjoyed TNA back in the day, Samoa Joe and Scott Steiner were supposed to have a match. And because of that match, we had the infamous Scott Steiner promo with Steiner Math. MJF does the same thing, almost word for word, in a similar promo for Samoa Joe. So now we've got MJF's Steiner Math. So that already just put a lot of sights on just how clever at least things are happening in the MJF category when it comes down to keeping storylines alive, making AEW more interesting, and just showing a different facet of himself. Not only that happened on Wednesday, Nick Khan does announce that there's going to be the layoffs, which is expected with any merger. They'll be happening on Thursday, and everybody's been instructed to stay at home so that way HR can do these one-on-ones and have those conversations. We also found out that there's a strong chance that through the merger, Vincent Kennedy, this is the first time I've mentioned him, but guess what I'm not going to put him with is the WWE, because he has some say power in UFC decisions, believe it or not. That's an interesting subplot to this whole thing, is that Vince can have a strong conversation about the direction of the UFC. And then we had the PWI, Pro Wrestling Illustrated, top 500 list come out, and the top 6 names for that, I'll go in reverse order. So number 6 on the top 500 is MJF. Number 5 is El Hijo de Vikingo. Number 4, we just got finished talking about him, is Gunther. Number 3 is John Moxley. Number 2 is Roman Reigns. And number 1 is the architect, Seth Rollins. So just like Tuesday, there's some things to unpack there. So the first thing is Steiner Math. Did you get a chance to see either via social media or anything, Ryder or KG, MJF's promo?
No, I've missed it because I've kind of been out on them for a minute because I just don't like their direction. Like, it feels like every week they just put names in a hat and like roll them out and try to create something for us, or they just try to pop you every week. So they don't give you
long-term storytelling.
Right. They give you short-term, and I'm talking about very short-term.
It's very like in the moment right now.
Say that again.
I say you sound like Eric Bischoff right now. That was one of his biggest criticisms, is the storytelling from AEW and Tony Khan. KG?
I missed out on it. I've been focused on so much other stuff, sports-wise. I was playing medical doctor early in the week, so, the whole Aaron Rodgers thing had me in doctor mode, so I was working on that. So,
well, for the viewers, go ahead and look it up. You can either look up MJF's promo, you can look up Scott Steiner's, but when we, that 33 and a third percent chance, turning into 125 and 2/5 chance to beat their opponent, that Steiner Math promo is still astounding and stands up the test of time.
You know what?
How many times you see it.
Now that you say that, I did see that. Because I was trying to figure out what I knew I heard it before, but I didn't remember where. Mm-hmm. But yes, that's been, he and Adam Cole have done their best work the last couple of weeks. And that's the only thing that's really been TV worthy.
Yeah, I agree with that. So layoffs that's just going to happen, as I mentioned, with any big company. You only need one HR department, one, whatever department. There's a lot of things at Titan Towers. So, they don't need two of everything. So streamlining so that way they can merge. And yet you'll have some people, necessary, essential positions. And hopefully these are, don't mean this in the wrong way, but the little people and not the people up in the top floors that are getting kept, but, the real workers in some of these departments, some of them are getting to be able to transition into the TKO world and not just, oh, we're going to keep the big wigs and lay off all the little folks that make the world go round. KG?
Last hired, first fired. I was looking at the list of people that they fired, and they fired over. They call them layoffs. Call it what it is. You fired these people. You fired them, and I'm sure they don't get a handsome severance package that they should get, but you fired them. And it's people that just got with the company 2022, 2021, stuff like that. But they were brought in to do a job, and now you say, well, all right, your position's not needed anymore. Mm-hmm. The simple fact that people that were working in the office, you told them to stay home on Friday and work from home, which in a way is kind of cool, because if you're going to fire me, don't let me come in and then tell me I'm fired. Nigga, you knew I was fired back when I was at home. I could stay the fuck in the bed for this shit. They ain't had to waste no goddamn gas. But that's
clean out the cubicle.
That's different. If there's anything in the cubicle, you can have it, because if I come back up there, I'm gonna light everything on fire. But that's just me. But you let these people go, and it's kind of sort of without warning. But whenever you got a takeover of epic proportions, this is a takeover, no matter what you want to call it. It's not hostile, but it's a takeover. You have these layoffs, and this is not the end of it. It's going to be a lot of people that lose their jobs, and we're going to get down to performers that's going to lose their job, and it's not going to be fair. I don't like when they do stuff like this. One thing you can do, you can take over a company, you can reshuffle everything. Yes, you only need one HR, you only need one video department, but you have to take that department, put it together and say, okay, you guys are worried about the WWE side, you guys are worried about the UFC side. That's it. To let these people go because, oh, well, we already got a guy that does that. Well, do you have a guy over here that does it, or are you going to make somebody else's job harder? That's the shit that's pissing me off about the layoffs.
Right.
It's dumb to me. It's really dumb. You got more. This deal is going to bring in more money that they can air condition hell at least 20 times. And every level of hell will have air conditioning. I'm talking about that cold stuff too. Ryder?
Is there electricity in hell? Just asking for a friend.
They use solar
last
power.
time I checked, it was.
Okay, cool. That works. All right, keep going. I'm sorry.
But this deal's gonna bring in that type of money. That you're gonna have money on top of money on top of money. So, I mean, give it at least 6 months and say, okay, we'll reevaluate in 6 months, and then we'll, if we have to dissolve some positions, we'll dissolve them. But it's hard out here, man, and I feel bad. Even though these people make more money per year than I do, we talking 6 figures. We talking like 200,000. I don't make 200,000 a year. I'm not ashamed to admit it. But I feel bad for these people because now, excuse me, you have to go and you got to catch on with somebody else and hope that somebody else needs the position that you work in. You could at least gave them 6 months, something.
Yeah, it's a thing.
I think they had some time just because you knew the merger was happening,
right?
But let's think about it. We've been in the work field for a long time, so you kind of know when the writing's on the wall that it's either you or Johnny over at UFC. It's either you or Tiffany over at UFC. So you gotta
stab Johnny.
Hey, catch him on his lunch break. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, it's one of those things where it's coming down. You start putting your ducks in a row. You start, hitting Indeed. You know what I'm saying? And trying to figure out what's next.
Yeah,
absolutely right. I mean, I can't deny anything you say because you spoke facts, and I'm sure. I'm not gonna say I'm sure because they could have given, hey, there's gonna be some reshuffling, but I guarantee you they use the wording where they don't want you to worry, because if you start worrying, well, when this takes place, we're gonna do some reshuffling. Nobody's losing their jobs. We're just gonna do some reshuffling and reassign some people. Oh, so I'm still gonna have a job. I can relax, and all of a sudden, boom, here's your pink slip. You at home, hey, turn your computer in and turn your key card in, and bring your ID back to the office, man. HR want to see you.
Well, that's better than them going to the key machine and then like it's like that red X. She's like, so
come into work on Monday. You say what?
There's a lot better than UPS or FedEx dropping off envelopes.
Hey,
just ask Stone Cold.
And I thought about that too. I was like, how did they handle these layoffs? And I'm sure everybody didn't take it as well, because you're talking about people's livelihoods. Nobody's going to take that well. But correct me if I'm wrong, with WWE as well as UFC, because I haven't heard about no UFC people getting laid off. I've heard of all WWE people getting laid off.
Of course.
Which is like, that's like probably the biggest child please that you can give them. And if you don't know what child please mean, I need you to look it up. But that's probably the biggest child please that you can give an employee. And then we were talking about it off air. We were talking about Dana Warrior. She was one of the layoffs, and I'm like, how? Why?
Who's Dana? Is that?
That's the Ultimate Warrior's wife.
Oh, okay.
Now she had what was her role? She was director of, well, it wasn't community relations, but she had a pretty swanky role where she went around and she made appearances, for the run up for the Warrior Award and things like that. She went to school. She did all these things. She had a real role where she was like kind of sort of the face. She ain't no kind of sort of. She was the face of the Warrior Award, and now you let her go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just I got a problem with change, and that's obvious. If you listen to any show, I have a problem with change. So
right. Well, speaking of change, I'm gonna go over the top 50. I'm sorry, the top 500 list again for 1 through 6, and let me know if y'all want to change anything or if it makes sense to you.
Change.
All right. So number 6 was MJF.
Gunther.
Number 5 was El Hijo del Vikingo or Vikingo. Number 4 is Gunther. Number 3 is Mox. 2 is Roman. 1 is Seth. So you're saying you want to get rid of Gunther and take him off?
No, I'm putting him at 6.
What would you put in? Okay.
I would put Gunther at 6. MJF should be in the top 3.
Yeah, I think MJF should be 2.
And I'd put Roman at 1, just because you pushed so much into him for 1,000 days. He's got to be 1. So I would put him 1, Seth 2. Nah, actually MJF 2, Seth 3. And then I forget who the person I'm missing out of that 6.
Well, Mox is 3 now.
Well, actually, let's move the Spanish guy up a number, put him at 4, and then put Mox at 5. Because all Mox does is cut himself every time he wrestles. I mean, I'm like, God, I mean, come on. I mean, blood used to be sacred. Now it's like, I don't know. It's like Friday night, you just got paid and you went to the whorehouse. I mean, it's just every week he's cutting himself.
Hey,
it doesn't matter.
Saying that before he got on.
We were. Friday night, you went to the whorehouse. God damn. I love it.
I mean, he just bleeds every time.
Like, for no reason.
It's the dumbest shit. Like,
that's just what we were saying. Like, how you?
He puts a sport. He takes a sport, put it to his head, cut himself, and I'm like, dude, who's believing the sport is cut? Like, what are we doing?
There's only one person that was believable to bleed in every match, and that was Sandman. Just because he hit himself with the can in the entrance. So like,
I was going to say Abdullah the Butcher.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
So yeah, that's well. I mean, that was throughout the course of the match. So like as we mentioned, Ric Flair, it's not a good Flair match unless he's bleeding. But that was part of the match. But just blood in general for the sake of blood,
right?
Sandman, like all right, well he bleeding now, he gonna go wrestle. Par for the course. You waiting to see it. If he didn't bleed, like man, you hit yourself hard enough. Get him another can. And that's just the way it worked out.
And I'm sorry, not to get off point, but what was the point of cutting up Orange Cassidy? Like, I mean, it didn't, like, they've done so much stuff that doesn't make sense. Like, you got a guy that's super over, that's perfect. Why cut him? Why make him look so weak?
But yet they had Darby Allin almost put himself to death every single time. Like, hey, Darby, I know you're a daredevil, but that sounds crazy. I could do it, guys. All right, then. Go ahead, Darby.
Okay, let's go. Oh, you want to jump off the top of the stadium and land on? Yeah, that sounds doable.
Yep. They just that, right, Darby? Yeah, I can do it. All right, then. You good? Like, come on, man.
I forget
every single time.
Every single time. I forget who said this, but somebody was like, "Let's stop trying to get all these 5-star matches and let's just have a good wrestling match." And I feel like that's the problem with AEW. It's like every match has to be the 5-star circle of death spot that you've never seen every time. And like it's like a slam dunk contest. After you've seen all these spots over and over again, there's no spot that impresses you.
Yep. The only group or the only pairing that I think was the most consistent, but that was just who they are, is the Lucha Bros.
Right.
Ray Phoenix doing stuff. I mean, and to an extent, the Young Bucks, because some of their tandem moves, like, man, them guys, they're brothers. They're just in sync. They just got it. Even more, in my opinion, than the Hardys. The Hardys had their certain spots, they were going to do, but they weren't all, I'm going to flip them over this way, you come over this way, bow, bow, bow. Like, what the hell? Once in a while, the Young Bucks get me. Ray Phoenix all the time is like, this dude is amazing. And, only one time did he hurt himself. But he earned that one. Like, all right, I'll give you a pass on that one, Ray, because that spot was amazing. But other than that, I agree. Every match does not need to be, flipping, hard hitting, and then wait, just because it's AEW, we're going to stop in the middle of the ring. I'm going to hit you, you're going to hit me, and then I'm going to wait for you, like, bow. And then, like, okay, I'm going to come back. Like, really? You could have finished the match by now. Not everything has to have the same formula because it doesn't work for everybody because everybody can't convey it properly.
I watched Moxley fight a kid 3 weeks ago, and the kid landed every big spot. Like it looked like he just emptied out his clip with big spot after big spot and big spot, and then all of a sudden, like Moxley punches him and pins him 1, 2, 3. I'm like, what the hell?
Not even that. Mox hulking up. Remember, hulking up used to be something that you earn. I mean, you work towards. Even Hulk Hogan, to his credit, hulked up a couple of times and was knocked back down. So it wasn't even, you thought he was coming back. Like you ready for him to point, he got knocked back down. It's like, oh man, come on, Hulk, we gotta get you there, man. But Mox, 15 DDTs and super kicks and all this stuff, you just pop up like Sting. Like, what the hell? Really? Did that not hurt?
What was is it Larry Betterman, the dude from Showtime that used to do the scorecards?
Mm-hmm.
Like effective aggressiveness and ring generalship all went to the other guy, and Moxley just got the outcome. I just didn't understand that shit.
Well, good thing now graded off for scoring.
Yeah, God damn.
Wow, look, HBO Boxer, boy, you took it way back with that. That wasn't that long ago, but damn, I missed that.
That was my dude, because he'd always come in. Yeah, Jim, it's all about effective aggressiveness and ring generalship. I got a 9-10. That knockdown really hurt him in that round.
Oh man, I don't even want to think about how young I was back then watching that. But Yeah, I thoroughly agree. We could do a whole show on that tomfoolery, but that's the problem. And then the worst is you get it on Wednesday, and then you turn it around, get it on Friday, and then you get it on Saturday. Like everybody doing the same thing. It's like,
Yeah.
God dang. We went from, the feeling of WCW to now everybody got to be an ECW wannabe.
Yep.
And nobody but a few is getting it right.
And I think Bischoff is the right person to criticize it because I feel like he's going down the Bischoff path of messing up what was once a contender. Now it's a pretender.
Yep. When you can see that in their attendance numbers. And then
Yep.
I still don't understand how the camera crew can F up the shots and show the empty half of the arena. Like sometimes the camera just like, zoop, like, what the hell? And then they come back. Like, all right, maybe that was a mistake. They called the wrong. Is it on it again? Like, why are you showing? Come on, y'all. Exposing yourself. And there's no reason why the opposite side of the hard cam. So if the hard cam is here, the opposite side is empty. Why are you not selling those tickets?
Oh, why don't you move those people there?
Yeah, exactly.
Makes no sense. No sense. I understand you want to make it look full, fill it up, but in order to fill it up, give us quality matches. Because let's just roll it back. We'll just rewind. Wembley Stadium was one long dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Speaking of stadiums,
we can roll it forward now because I know where you're going with this.
That's the problem with AEW. They're I don't want to call them house shows, but their network shows don't live up to stadium stampedes. You're all in and your blood and guts ain't nothing better than all in is always pretty good, but everything else don't live up to stadium stampede. Stadium stampede always has not one, not two, but at least 4 to 5 spots in each match that you be like, ooh, okay, yeah, this is good. But then you don't follow it up when you go to network TV. You give us nothing. And it's like you see the same people every day, every show, every week. Same people. You got this huge roster. Use it.
Oh, it's diminishing. Sonny Kiss is now a free agent.
Jeez, totally, and never used them. I've been asking for Sonny Kiss to be used on network TV for what, 3 years now?
Yep, we lost Sonny Kiss, we lost Joey Janela, and a bunch of others that are just. What are you doing with them? We went
from Nyla Rose.
There's isn't or not. I'm gonna wait because there's a name that I know or I've heard that might be leaving too.
Yeah, I heard that too. We almost there. We're at Thursday now, so we just covered Wednesday. So on Thursday, it was confirmed that 100 plus employees at Titan Towers were laid off, and you already mentioned Dana Warrior. It was noted that 0 talent or anybody from the production teams in the field were released. That does not rule it out. They just were not released at this round. But there's heavy rumors that is going to be made verbally official soon that AEW has inked a deal with HBO Max or Max to air their content. Old school retro archive content, a bunch of stuff that Tony Khan filmed that was never shown still. And then somehow either the pay-per-views are going to be on there live or Dynamite and Rampage and Collision will just show the next day since it's a streaming platform. So that's what was announced on Thursday. Then we're wrapping up the week going into Friday, and a couple things happen. Well, from the AEW side, we see a match that at first was like, okay, Jade's back. She's going up against Chris Statlander. Yeah, sorry, Stat, you're about to lose that belt. Watch the match, a couple false finishes, see the finish, and then next thing you know, Stat drops down and extends the hand to Jade. Jade takes it, and these fools hug. like, oh shit, y'all let Jade Cargill slip through your god dag on fingers, and then the rumors go out that she may be WWE bound after if there is a non-compete clause after a non-compete clause. So you let Jade Cargill take time off, come back, have a final match to put over Chris Statlander, and then explain this to me, y'all. How do you lose Jay Cargill?
Because you have poor writers.
Ryder, go ahead. Houseway.
It's not even about the poor writers. It's just you've had a poor product. Your poor product. I mean, you put her in the spotlight, you built her up, and then you took the title off of her, and then you sent her away, and you did nothing else with her. Like you gave her no options, and honestly, she never had a rival the whole time she had the title. There was no person that she went up against that I was like, ooh, this is gonna be a tough one. Never.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a poorly established women's division, and really the only other woman that's even worth a mention in that group right now is Britt Baker, but I don't even know if she's wrestling right now. She might be hurt. But that's it. They've done a poor job building everybody else. All they do is bring somebody from Japan, throw them in the ring, and it's like, oh, here comes Okinawa Jones. And it's like, all right, here we go. Okinawa's music hit, and like they're explaining who he is over in Japan. You're like, oh, okay, that's cool. And there's no pop.
Yep.
They constantly bring guys over from Japan, and it's like, oh, like yeah, you can't go to the fifth wall weekly. Like it doesn't. It's like if you buy flowers for your girl every week, she's not going to be surprised after the fifth week because she knows she's getting flowers every week.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem this product has is they don't give you anything to look forward to because they give you the same thing every time and just be like, ta-da! And it's like, okay. And it's something that's not even worth the ta-da.
But the funny thing is, they had that when they had, and they were featuring, in the beginning part of Dynamite, all the different wrestlers. They gave you an opportunity, even with Brian Cages and Joey Janela's, other people. You heard the names, but they took the time to let them explain it and let them talk in the ring and stuff like that. So you started to build the rapport. Then you started to see all these different people, even the Japan people like Rio. Okay, you're going to put the belt on or whatever, but at least I started getting acclimated to who Rio was. So by the time she had the matches and stuff like that, and like, all right, well, even though she's small in stature, wrestling from, the young age, was it 7 or 8? She's got more ring experience than Britt Baker. So, okay, conceptually and wrestling logic-wise, she can work something out to be able to cover as long as, when they're wrestling, they don't have the pauses to where you see the transition of the moves. And, Rio and Britt, they were able to pull that off. Not everybody can make that happen. But at least we saw more different variants of talent. And then I think it started to change after we got Aleister Black. Then it started going from that level towards the WWE side, where it's the same top talent, same ones involved in the storyline, bounce it back and forth. Mox solidified it because Mox is going to be in every match, and every single turn around, Moxley this, Moxley that, he's the champion, da-da-da. We start pulling away from the Kenny Omega thing. Jericho's, they started pulling away from Jericho being the focal point, and then we kind of just lost it. And, oh, that's right, Cody left. Second vice president, EVP allegedly, dipped on you. That's not a good look. Shane left a while down the road. But you're like, well, that's his son. He can dip out, go do whatever, come back. It's Shane, whatever. Stephanie never left. Stephanie didn't dip out and say, hey, I'm going to a whole nother company type of thing, or I'm going to WCW. That'd be absurd. That's the equivalent of what Cody did, in essence. So, yeah, I agree with you, man. It's a hot mess, but still, all they had to do was one thing to keep Jade. Say, you're the TBS champion. Now go fight the women's champion. Take the belt with you. That's all you had to do. You
Or
got MJF and Jade as champions. Can you imagine them in the same ring, cutting promos, talking trash? They could have made a power union. Then you could have fought Adam Cole and Britt Baker, champion for champion. You could have did something with that. But when you have your world women's champion walking up the ramp, looking at the TBS champion, like, and TBS champion, like, well, I'm not vying for that title. I'm good with the one I got. Like, come on, what? I don't know. KG, what would you do with Jade? I know they're saying the rumors that she's going to go straight to the main roster. Do you agree with that, or would you send her to NXT?
Nah, I send her to NXT. I'd polish her a little bit more, but first and foremost, I would call Fox and be like, look, we're signing Jade Cargill. When you're ready to make the next X-Men and we need Storm, there you got it.
There you go.
Make sure you got her in there, because I don't think anybody else can play Storm. And I think her and what is it called? Liquid Lycra would be a great sight. Let's just say that. But send her to NXT and let her really, really work. She could dominate NXT, but then when she comes up, you put her in a feud with her and Rhea Ripley would do really, really well.
Huh? That's the first one you thought of?
Well, people are saying Charlotte.
No,
but I would. We have to work towards her and Charlotte is WrestleMania. I wouldn't give her Bianca yet.
I was the only one thinking that. No,
not off the rip.
Whoa! Time out. Flag on the play. Why would I put Jade and Bianca against each other right away? That's the payoff, baby. I don't want that right away.
No. Hold on. See. Now you're slipping on my pimping. All right.
I want them long
what we doing here is because I feel like I want Jade and Bianca at Mania.
Not yet. Not this.
And if I can't do it, because unfortunately the way the WWE works, or the way I see it, is 4 women. Is Charlotte, Rhea, Bianca, and until they bring the man back, it will be Jade. That's their 4.
I would.
I think Bailey's out of the loop. So I would, if anything, I would make Bailey the gatekeeper to Jade.
I think Jade and Bianca need to be a tag team first.
I'm trying to make Doom the female version,
but more powerful, more stronger.
But they don't. I would love.
I know the argument about tags.
Okay, all right. Then I'm gonna stop because you already on it.
Let's build the relationship between those two, so that way when they start to split and they want to cut the promos on each other, then it's a lot more intense. Because I don't want it to be a bunch of just that bitch show. Girl, come on. But you won't even go here. I mean, there's not that much promo material right now between the two of them. Got a couple catchphrases, and then it's going to get lost. But if Bianca's in trouble, she's getting beat down by Nia and let's say if Nia joined the Judgment Day. Nia and Rhea, and, get beat down and like, man, sorry, you ain't going to win this fight. That's two beasts right there whipping on Bianca. And then Jade come out. There you go.
Okay.
Or worst case scenario, Roman had to make a phone call. Well, it wouldn't make sense because they're not family. But if she came down and joined the bloodline, and then she could get seasoned because you have Paul Heyman being the advocate, yeah, we could get something out of that because Paul Heyman could work it, and she would be the attraction she's supposed to be. She ain't got to speak for the beginning. She get a catchphrase in, do whatever. Paul hypes it. She comes in, do what she do, and then she becomes champion that way. I would be cool with that. But I'll prefer them to come in tag just to build up some backstory. And then after that, then they got something to talk about. You started becoming jealous of me. You basically my twin. You came in after me. You know, everybody look at you and they be thinking, oh, she's just trying to be like me. I'm stepping out of your shadow. You know, there's so many things you could do so that way that WrestleMania payoff. You know, take a year and cultivate that because we know WWE can do
it. Here's the thing. Now, outside of kayfabe, you know they hang together, right?
Oh yeah, and Trinity.
Yeah,
cool.
You got a stable waiting to happen. I'm just saying. But with their respective husbands, they all hang together, and when they see each other, it's nothing but love. And that type of chemistry right there would work inside the ring so well. But the only problem is, in this social media age, is keeping up with kayfabe. That's the only problem. But they love each other so much. And it's not just them. I mean, Alexa Bliss is in that. I think Bailey's in that. It's a lot of ladies backstage is in that clique.
Charlotte's
and you know,
in that.
Yeah, they're not mean girls when I say clique, but they're in that clique where they all just when they see it, it's just loved among one another. But unfortunately,
you use that when they doing their beef, but you got to cultivate the beef.
Right.
You call back to those pictures. We used to hang out. You know what I'm saying? We was at the
ESPYs show together. I think they were at the ESPYs together.
Yep. But together, we was at the Beyonce concert, girl. You know, whatever.
This is why we can't give that payoff too early, Midnight Rider. Because if you give that, that's the peak of the mountain. That's the peak of the. That's what everybody wants. So you have to have Jade go through everybody else to get to Bianca, but you gotta tease it. And I don't want no bullshit drama. I don't want no Real Housewives of Atlanta type drama to kick off to start this feud. Now I need some real shit to start this feud. I need something good. None of this bullshit. That this petty drama. Not oh, you trying to be my man type shit. Nah, I need that. I'm tired of being in your shadow. It's time for me to step out. They keep comparing me. You know, they keep doing the comparisons and all of that stuff. Because Jade's got a body that was carved out of granite. Bianca Belair, body carved out of granite. But Bianca Belair has the powerlifting. So, you know, of course, she's going to be in Jade's shadow because she came before Jade. So she's going to be in Jade's shadow. But then you have somebody come in there and be the peacemaker. That tries to be the peacemaker, and it doesn't happen. And then it's like sparks to a powder keg. Boom. Next thing you know, you got an Inferno. You got at least 6 months to a year worth of a story of run-ins and stuff like that. And then when you get that first official match and they actually go 15 to 20 minutes and it's a curtain jerker. That's it right there. That's your main event because that's your payoff. And you, with me saying all that, you can tell I've been here with the People's Choice Don Rodriguez for 5 years, and I am starting to sound just like him. Jesus Christ.
Well, I will give the rider this, so I'll give you this nugget. She should come in at the Royal Rumble.
Right.
So that will give them, bumping elbows at the Royal Rumble. She needs to be at the Performance Center now, all the way up until January, the day before, just for that Royal Rumble moment. And then back to the Performance Center until WrestleMania when she makes her official stake at something. Give her plenty of time because as much as I like Jade Cargill as a attraction and somebody to watch, the difference between Bianca and Jade is that Bianca's a natural at this.
Right.
Her movements, she's got the flow. Even with the hair thing that she's got to hold on to in some things, she is pacing it. And Jade just isn't able to get there yet because Daniel Bryan could only teach for so much because he's still got his thing going on.
Right.
But a dedicated Performance Center that can focus and harness that and help her be able to craft a match and make it in ways, man, you would recognize Jade Cargill at that point. But then the other thing they got to do is WWE's got to hire some bigger people. Because only Bianca, Jade, Charlotte, and Nia can wrestle. And
Rhea.
Raquel and Rhea. So that's 6 people. That's all you got from the size category. Everybody else getting dominated.
Wait.
They're putting Zelina Vega up against Jade.
Hold on.
Exactly.
Wait,
That's
hold
why
on.
the whole Selena Vega thing never made sense to me. They kept trying to throw in the fatal four ways. It's like, why? She gonna get folded.
Well, if you can put Rey Mysterio against the Big Show and he win, come on now. Anything's possible.
That's because Ray was cultivated in that way. They're not putting the effort behind her to be able to make her the next Rey Mysterio.
And the other thing is, and the other thing is Ray has had a pop. Like they're not popping for Selena Vega.
Yeah.
So, and even when they do, it's not Rey Mysterio level.
Yeah, because she has no Eddie Guerrero.
See, here's the thing. You say they not popping for Zelina Vega. I got to give you that because I'm popping for Zelina Vega.
Well, you pop for all women reasons.
No, Zelina Vega is she on a different level with everybody else because a lot of her ring attire is inspired by Aaliyah. She's a huge Aaliyah fan, so we got that in common. And I love that she's a huge Aaliyah fan.
She was good at Impact because if you looked at they just did the Impact 1000. Most of the women was all the same size,
right?
With the exception of Awesome Kong, everybody was pretty much the same size and stature. Same thing when Mia Yim was down there; they could all wrestle each other because they're similar size. Made sense, but in the WWE land of the giants, there's nobody there for her to have a good match with, unless it was I think Alexa Bliss is about the same height, Io Sky is about the same height. Asuka's not too far away, but she still is taller. Asuka's taller than her.
But Asuka's a lot bigger than what you think.
I know, like I said, Asuka's a little bit taller than Zelina, but there's not that much height wise for her to really pop off and do the stuff.
and Asuka's one of the only few that's been built up enough that if she did fight one of those six, it would be believable for her to win.
Yeah,
but she has a strong style.
She's old, older.
Wait.
Asuka's on her tail end.
How? She's only knocking on what? She's knocking on what? 36, 37?
She's in her 40s.
Get the fuck out of here.
No.
You serious?
Yes.
She about to get kicked out of the KG brothel.
Never.
I mean, but I'll give it to Asuka can go. But yeah, Asuka I think is the oldest one in the WWE at the moment.
Wrestling. Yeah, she's 41. She turned 42 on the 26th of this month.
Yeah.
Damn, I thought she was younger than that. No, she's not getting kicked out. Not at all.
Oh, the very sweet juice.
They get bumped up the house mom.
But she's just a good person. That's another one. She's a part of that clique too. She's just another good one. She's another good one that runs with them. And I think, I don't know, if they do it right, they could sign Jade Cargill. They could poach a lot of talent from AEW. And WWE, they got 3 shows that they can use them on. If you take an MJF and you put MJF on Raw,
you'd have to.
I would love to see him and The Miz off break. The promos that would come out of that, absolutely amazing.
But see, here's the thing: in order for them to properly receive MJF, you can't be a PG show.
No,
you gotta let him skirt the edge a little bit.
And where do we always say that WWE messed up? When they started going to the PG era. You lost a lot of fans that you can't give me the attitude era and the ruthless aggression era, and then all of a sudden, well, we're going to tone it down a little bit because, you guys, we got kids watching. Y'all didn't give a fuck when we was kids. Why the hell do y'all care now?
Exactly.
We were running around in high school telling people to suck it.
But we
were talking about puppies and kitties. Come on now.
Well, if we're going to talk about the Attitude Era, I guess, Roddy, you might as well talk about Dwayne coming back and his epic tour of, well, there's a writer's strike, so I got nothing to do. So first he out there talking about college foosball with Stephen A. and Coach Prime and and Pat McAfee. And then he's at SmackDown getting pictures with everybody. So tell us about The Rock coming back and hanging out with Cena. It's almost nostalgic.
The Rock came back to Boulder, Colorado. He's been featured the whole weekend. He was on Stephen A's show. He was on SmackDown. And then this morning, even on game day, they hit his music mid-conversation about Colorado, and he came out and started talking with Dion. So before you cut me off and before I knew the direction you were going in earlier about the Tuesday thing, I was mentioning the fact that The Rock even made this appearance tells me that there's more that they're trying to wet the palate of these other services to get WWE either back on Fox or get a better TV deal for wherever they go in the future. Like, you just don't throw The Rock out there like all of a sudden on a Friday, like that wasn't that's not happenstance. That's not happenstance. We've had everything that happened from your Tuesday timeline to now, and then all of a sudden The Rock just shows up. Nah, like there's nothing. And then the fact that even him and Cena have that moment in the back, and like Cena's trying to act like he's mad, and like Rock's like, I see you smiling. Like all of that is the payoff. The only question I have after that is where we really going with is how involved is he with Jimmy and Jay? Because I'm still trying to figure out that timeline. And do we get Roman and Rock?
I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, there's rumor that Rock and Cody may go one-on-one.
That's even better.
Honestly, if in order for that to make sense, we need interference for real. Like Brock need to come back and F5 somebody or something, because you really going to have Cody beat The Rock? That would make sense. If The Rock is supposed to be viable to go up against Roman.
But if you build the Cody thing as hard times, and you put The Rock somehow in the faction of the bloodline as a gatekeeper, keeping Cody away from Roman, then you can get to Cody beating Rock, but you'd have to put him directly into something with Roman.
It would have to be a night one, night two, and The Rock would have to turn heel. So I could see that.
So we could get, all right, so here we go. We get Hollywood Rock, intro and all.
Hate that intro.
That intro is one of the best intros ever. You don't kiss your mother with those lips. Oh, fuck, what? The Rock, the whole build up to the man.
Hate it.
See, your childhood was messed up because of that whole Michigan UNC thing. That's another sports show.
Yo, what the?
That's a whole different sports show.
I know what we're talking about right now. Why did you have to?
I get it. You've been tarnished. You know what I'm saying? So I get why you act like this at times.
Why did you have to bring that up? What is that?
I was just saying. It's just a thing. It makes it all make sense when I'm saying what I'm saying, and then you disagree. I get it,
bro. Did you really just bring that up?
I mean, my bad. Not really, but I'm just saying.
Hey, this sounds like Sunday Rise type of situation. Right,
I don't even know what he brought that up for. Like, what was the relevance there?
Like,
but still, going back to my point, really I just think really like you can build this whole thing with The Rock and Cody, and then you know what, Don, you even brought up a better idea, because you could build it like they built Daniel Bryan when he had to beat somebody the night before. He had to beat Triple H to get the title shot, or vice versa, however it went. So you could build it that way, where he has to go through The Rock to get to Roman, and then that's his payoff.
Yeah, and then that also sets up the issue with Roman versus The Rock, because how did you let Cody beat you?
Right.
And now I got to deal with it again.
Right.
I thought you supposed to be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to be the elder. So, you can still segue into the dream match between those two as well, but give Cody the payoff. Or the Monday night, you could have Rock versus Roman.
But wouldn't you put Rock to the side and let him do that at SummerSlam?
Possibly. You could do that too. The writer's strike is going to dictate everything.
Right, exactly.
Everything's going to change. If the strike ends and Rock's like, I'm out because I got to go make these movies, so then they got to pivot. And then that's what I said, a couple things are in flux, and it's all based off of what The Rock's going to do, because he can't commit to a long term because he got to make this money.
Right.
And now he's producing. He's got to produce this money. So we'll have to see how this plays out. But yeah, we've got some options, and we're kind of in a renaissance period. The only thing we're missing is one more person.
Don't say it.
You want Stone Cold back.
It's not that I don't want him back. I'm afraid. That's the problem.
You don't have to wrestle.
But he wants to.
There.
He wants that last match.
To his credit, he just need to be there.
Exactly.
If they're pulling out the big guns, the only one you're missing, because you're not going to do Taker. That's special. That's WrestleMania. You're not going to do Shawn because you see him with NXT. So there's nothing special about that. You could play around with Triple H, taking his shirt off and, look like you're going to do something, but maybe not. But if you get Stone Cold, yeah.
So where would you put Stone Cold, though?
He just need to be there.
Okay.
He could do, he could be the guest of the Grayson Waller effect, and then he gives Grayson Waller a stunner and turns that into the Stone Cold podcast. He could do a quick little interview right there.
So
go ahead.
Long as he don't give him a stunner like he gave what's Byron's last name?
Saxton.
Yeah, Byron Saxton, but he actually kicked him in the nuts last year. Now that was during COVID, that was during the pandemic. He kicked him in the nuts twice. Long as he don't get him like that, we good.
But yeah, we can slide Stone Cold in. We can slide Kurt Angle in. And then, since we're talking UFC, good time to see Ken Shamrock. What Tito Ortiz doing right now?
I think you can do without
Randy Couture doing right now. What Chuck Liddell doing right now?
Oh, Chuck Liddell probably don't know his name right now. So,
but
he going through all that. Yeah, he going through the nah.
That mean they can't be in the front row.
No, I get it. I get it. You can
always
always have,
but just have that star power bouncing back and forth, just to leverage the Endeavor thing. And then
wouldn't that be like a I'm sorry. Go ahead. I apologize.
Well, I was gonna say I wouldn't be surprised if there's a TKO champion coming out of this. You got TBS champion. I don't know how it'll be defended. You may defend it during the UFC. Somehow you may have to fight in the octagon and have a match in the octagon at the pre-show or something.
You know what that smells like? That smells like brawl for it all. That smells like no.
They can pay Bart Gunn to commentate. He'd be like, man, it's some bullshit. You know what I'm saying, Butterbean? Yeah, I remember when I knocked your ass out. Yeah, you're right. Is Butterbean coming back? Didn't I see something about that? He's supposed to be coming back.
Man, he lost a rack of weight too.
Well, he old. He got to do something. I need to figure out how he dropped the weight. Shoot, I'm old. I need to lose some weight. But one last thing to round up before we head home this crazy week. Today, it's been passing through the Twitter X's and all that stuff that while on Cage, a broadcast for Cage Fury fighting championships. CM Punk is having a conversation. He's like, well, I got about 2 months worth of free time before I have to do something. Guess what pay-per-view is about 2 months from now?
That's Survivor Series.
A lot of speculation.
I like it. Just the silent. Oh God, no.
I'm sorry. That was my outside voice. I apologize.
A lot of speculation about that. So just think about that in the course of the span of where we started with the week in the last McMahon era televised show to CM Punk talking about, I got nothing to do for another 2 months.
Oh, man.
I don't think we want to go down this road.
We've seen Cena. Can we see Punk?
No, let's not.
I think it's still good for business. He doesn't have to be permanent. You just need to give him a moment in Chicago with a mic.
You need him in Chicago. You're right. In Chicago, and then maybe in the Royal Rumble.
No, I wouldn't put him in the Royal Rumble. Just dip your feet in it.
Why not? You get him a pop at the Rumble, and then like have him come in at like 5 or 7. Get him out of there.
That's going to start building hope because people going to start building hope for title championships and stuff.
Okay.
And then that could derail Roman thing, and all I want him to do next time in Chicago, or even if he just shows up, let's just say it's pay-per-view. Why not? That way he got some liberties. He shows up with the mic, does his thing, wearing a new T-shirt, and then you pull away, and that's where you're at for a moment. Phil can get a crap ton of money from residuals from the T-shirt. He got his mic, and they let him say, because it's a pay-per-view or premium live event, he can mention AEW and break the fourth walls and do all these things and, pot bomb it up. But it's all under the guise. Paul Heyman can come out, say some things, but it's all under the guise of selling merch. Because we see what Endeavor's all about is putting money in the seats.
Right.
And then you could slide something else in. If we're still stretching and keeping Cody away from Roman Reigns, then maybe you can have Punk versus Cody somehow.
No.
As a distraction.
Yeah, and that feels like you burying Cody.
But no, Cody would win because we know, and Punk knows, WWE is going to make intelligent decisions in some cases. That's going to make sense for the long term because they're telling a story. And, hey, you're not coming in as a full-time talent. We're going to give you this. We're going, we may let you get over here, but I'm going to need you to put him over. We're telling you in advance. You're going to make a bunch of money. We're going to make a bunch of money. That's the job right now. You do good with that, then we can revisit and start thinking about maybe picking you up in 2024 after Mania. Shoot, you could make him champion after Mania at the Monday. He could win an IC title. Open challenge and Punk music come out.
Who was the IC? Oh, it's Gunther. Okay, never mind.
I doubt he's going to be champion by then. I think somebody else will be.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll definitely not be champion because then he'll be getting a title shot. And then we got to sit through Gunther as maybe the heavyweight champion. And boy, that's going to be so exhilarating. And the millions of Gunther fans, or the people that lick the back of stamps and still lick envelopes.
Shit.
Oh, Lord.
Okay.
Oh, Lord.
I guess I'm not a big Gunther fan. I'm sorry. I couldn't tell.
At times, it's better to watch paint dry.
Exactly.
At times.
Stop hating. Because KG was all up on him when he was Walter.
That's because he was
as Walter, he actually had a character and he had personality.
You know what I
mean? Character.
No, they messed. All right, hold on. My biggest pet peeve with the WWE is they will get you to know. It's like they catfish you. That's my word. I'm gonna use it that way. They catfish you. They sell you Pete Dunne all the time, and then he gets to the big time. He's Butch. I don't know Butch. I know Pete Dunne. You know what I'm saying? They sell you all these people as who they are in NXT, and then they bring them up and they change their name. That's not if you spent all this time building me a character, why are you changing the character?
Yeah, Bearcat Lee. I'm with you.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
You testifying.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen them do is they'll have you get built up, all this stuff, and then even on the other side of it, they'll have you believe in these guys. Tommaso Ciampa, what's the dude he used to always wrestle against?
Johnny Gargano.
And then all of a sudden they get on the main roster and it's like, yeah, we don't know what to do with them. Why call them up? It kills me that you have these guys that built this brand in NXT. You bring them up because you have to, supposedly, because that's the rule or whatever. And then you put them in like piss poor roles, and then they're gone or they don't have anything to do. And it's just, I'm sorry. I'm about to start rambling.
I'm with you, but also there has to be some ownership on the athlete or a superstar because they have to also make the moment as well. Because again, we have to look at it. Becky came up. Wasn't until Nia that Becky came through. You know, Bayley came up. Well, her gimmick kind of translated over, but then she kind of broke through with Sasha Banks. And then it kind of fizzled off again. But Charlotte was Charlotte. You know, she's legacy. So ain't nothing you can say about that. You know, she's legacy. Bianca Belair is the only one of recent that I would say came through NXT and skyrocketed, but was the same character. She turned from heel to face. Alexa Bliss, well, she did pretty well initially. You know, she's a multiple-time champion. So, yeah, but I get it. I'm right there with you. It's still, you know, what the hell are y'all doing type of thing.
Right.
Well, I'm not even going to go there. Not even going to go there. Next.
Well, shoot, that's it. That's to wrap it up because we hit Saturday. That's the whole week. That's a lot going on this week. And then we got to see who's going to show up on Monday. They're probably going to have Nature Boy on Monday. I don't know who else they could bring.
You think he'll wrestle?
Who, Nate?
Yeah.
God damn, you trying to kill Nate?
He'll wrestle anytime you ask him to. Why not?
He will, but I mean, good guy.
We'll need to see it.
Can't go.
We'll need to see
you know,
if you're doing that, let's bring Shane back and let him take a spot off the top of whatever. Let him take a spot off the top of I don't know, like one of the roof, the things that go across the roofs. What are they called? The catwalks. Yeah, let him jump off the catwalk and do a flip and land on somebody in the ring.
Why not?
Better do. Why not?
Because that's all you bring Shane back to do anyway.
That and coast to coast.
Yeah.
Well, we need RVD for that. Just bring back RVD. Shane does a good job, but you know, we know where you got that from.
Well, yeah.
RVD already had an adventure in another organization in the sport division. He was on AEW recently.
Oh yeah.
Did you say this?
RVD is just a free agent.
Yeah, because that's all they do. They take out sports and poke each other in the head and bleed, and then that's
the sport division.
Yeah, but I would get it. I'll be okay with RVD versus Mox, and he had to bleed if it's coming off of the Van Terminator. So you get hit with that, yeah, you should be bleeding. I'll give you that one. But outside of that, no. I know even Taz got to be like, that was this much bleed in ECW.
Exactly.
Agreed.
Sorry.
It's all right, man. It's going to be an issue. We'll probably be talking about, y'all probably talk about that tomorrow.
We got too much to talk about. I need my college top 5 quarterback thing.
Give us a preview of what you got on tap, so that way people know.
So tomorrow we got our 5-pack. Or our 6-pack actually. I think is how we're gonna do it. I haven't picked the games out yet, but we're gonna get it out to people. Or I'll get out to KG. I'll make sure I look up the odds for it. Also, we got the Midnight Rider top 5 college QB that we need to do because we gotta get that out.
There's Sanders on that?
Say again.
So is there a Sanders part of that?
Oh, it's definitely a Sanders part of that. The top 5 is pretty much established. Right now, it's all about pecking order.
Right.
And I think Papa Sanders wore a number in college. And I think younger Sanders might be in that position in the Midnight Rider top 5 college QB. And there's going to be a surprise at number 3.
I already know who number 1 is.
Okay, yeah, you do.
I know who number 1 is.
Say it for the peoples.
I think that's all we're doing, right? I think we're just doing football preview.
That's all we got.
Yeah. Have you seen the intro for Thursday night? Don?
Haven't seen what?
Have you seen the opening for Thursday nights?
No, believe it or not, that's the one thing I haven't had a chance to check out yet. But I heard there was a little bit of buzz about it.
You should check it out, man. Especially on the show called Wrestlemaniacs. I think Thursday night intro or open kind of fits in.
I'll take a look at it.
Yeah.
You're kind of quiet over there. I'll take a look at it.
It's the last 2.
You're still kind of quiet. I'll take a look at it.
I'm not gonna say nothing. It's like one of them things you just got to be like, go look at it. You be like, damn, yeah. See, told you.
I think we understood the assignment, so that's how we did it Thursday.
Well,
ladies and gentlemen, go back, get into the time machine, check some stuff out, and there you have it. So, man, it's been an action-packed show, and all we talked about was this week. The Sumo's out there on special assignment, so he'll be coming back with us, and then I'm quite sure he'll be covering the Impact 100 show, or 1,000 show. So I know he's got some news there and then some New Japan stuff. So he'll have some extra special things to get off his chest, and then we'll see what happens. So, we don't really need to do any overtime, but we may be going over to look at prime time and seeing what's happening in that game. So we ain't going to hang out with y'all too much longer. So any last words, gentlemen?
Nothing else for me, man. I'm good. I appreciate the invite.
Hey, I figured you'd enjoy this topic or several topics.
I'm good.
All right, well, just make sure you diversify your bonds and go out and hug somebody, smack some booty, do what you do.
Me too. Konnichiwa, bitches. Damn thing wants to fuck me over.